Yay, it's working! I fixed it!
Hooray!
So, welcome to our podcast, which is currently undergoing a contest to name it because our current name sucks.
Sucks big fat donkey balls.
So, Josh keeps complaining and saying that we need to find something else. So, we're setting up a contest where you can win prizes if you come up with the name that we actually select. So, don't give us any shitty selections because we're not going to select that.
Complaining, really? I don't think you could describe anything I've ever done in my life as complaining.
Josh decided that he had to go get some tooth thing done today. And now to deal with the quote-unquote excruciating pain, he is drunk. And for that, I apologize. He is pissing me off tonight.
Couple of things.
So I figured now is the time to go on podcast so that he has something to distract him with.
Oh, come off it, you silly woman. The real reason we're all cheery today is because we've got amazing news.
Oh, right!
Yeah.
So I guess I'll tell?
I don't know. I don't think you're fit to tell this news.
Okay,
Leave
fine.
it to me.
You tell the important news that the woman, me, is not able to tell.
Leave it to me, the man of the situation.
No, just in general, you're not in the situation, really.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. I'm not too picky. So, yeah. Great news. Michelle is taking that bold leap that so many, aspiring artists or whatever the hell you want to call yourself do. And she's put in...
Leaping off the cliff.
Off the cliff. She's put in her resignation at work. She's quitting and she's going to be working on writing full-time. With me.
Full-time. Right into the pits of starving artistdom.
Oh, you. She's so positive and upbeat. I can't wait to be working with her 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah.
All around the clock. So, this has been the big news that we've been kind of leading up to in our last podcast and probably the one before that too. But the deed is done. The resignation has been tendered. And it's going to be a thing starting October.
But I can hear you speaking, I like Ayn Rand. I don't care about anybody else. Why would I give a fuck that Michelle's quitting her job? I hear you. And though I don't personally agree with your, ideology or your taste in books.
Or people.
I would say, no, don't worry. There's plenty in it for you, too. Because with her quitting her job, there's so many great things. For one, these podcasts are actually going to be coming out on time. And
possibly more often.
Yeah.
Depending on how shitty we are with scheduling.
Yeah. We're thinking maybe once a week.
Yeah. So you could hear us talk a lot more.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. But
if you guys actually want that, I don't know. Some people seem to like this.
Yeah, I know. The more we do it, the more viewership we seem to get, so I don't know.
Oh, and because I will be home all of the time, we'll actually be able to do some real interviews with people.
Yeah, those interviews we kept promising you.
Yeah, we tried to do it in the past, but because we are Newfoundlanders, and our time zone varies so different from, people in Europe and people in the rest of Canada, the only times that we were available were times when nobody else was awake or they were at work or it was their dinner time or whatever. So now that we will have a more flexible schedule and also probably be going nocturnal, we'll actually, yeah, definitely nocturnal.
Yeah. Nightlife is where it's at.
Yeah. We'll have a lot more time to interview people, so that I'll be able to spice it up too.
Yeah. Before, our problem is whenever we tried to schedule interviews with these other authors, these awesome authors that were wanting to do this podcast with us and we're excited for it, and we were excited for them to be with us, the problem always came down to scheduling. Yeah. We could never find time. Michelle worked 3 jobs in one, and like she said, our time zone is fucked in the head.
Yeah. We are like half an hour time. Like, we are an hour and a half ahead of Eastern Standard Time just to fuck with you all.
Yeah, we're stuck in the middle of the Atlantic, in between Europe and North America.
Yeah.
And it really kind of fucks with scheduling.
Yeah.
So we'll actually be able to get those damn interviews we promised you like 6-7 months ago. Or
8, 9, 10, 12, 15,
whatever.
16 months ago.
Let's not nitpick here.
Okay, fine. So if you have any suggestions for anyone that you'd like to see us chat with, let us know.
Yeah.
We already,
let them know too.
Yeah, tell them, listen, you don't know what you're missing if you are not going to be on the currently nameless podcast.
Mm-hmm. That's where all the cool people go.
That is prestige there, being on a podcast that doesn't even currently have a name. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand. Like, that seems to be the thing. That, like,
seriously, thousands of people click on this link and probably quit 5 minutes in. That's a lot of people that hear you
could possibly
speak
hear
before they get
your
annoyed
voice
with it.
thing.
Yeah. For the record, I don't know how long they listen. I just assume all those thousands of people click and immediately get annoyed with us and leave.
I'm pretty sure we could tell on the analytics, like, how long people watch, but I don't really nitpick that much. I just kind of trust in the comments that are like, oh, you guys are awesome and funny.
Yeah.
And hope that you guys aren't lying just because. I don't know why
would
lie.
they lie to us?
That'd be really weird.
Why? That doesn't make any sense.
No. So I'm just going to trust that you guys are just awesome and would be best friends with us and come over and have tea and talk about fantasy and watch TV with us.
Mm-hmm. And, maybe they will up the quality of the podcast again. We have the tools. Michelle's very good at editing. It's just that we don't have time for it now.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have our cute little Yeti microphone with our pop filters.
Yeah, it's banging.
And our awesome recording software and everything. It's just a matter that I don't really have a lot of time to go through and painstakingly edit.
This is how short her time is. She actually entrusts some of the technical aspects of this podcast to me.
Yeah, because Windows Media Player does not like my new computer, apparently. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Microsoft's working very hard to find a solution.
I'm sure. I'm sure they'll find it by Windows 9. Yeah. But more than that, too, once she's gone, what's, of course, the big obvious thing? More stories from us, more regularly.
Yes. So, we actually, because this has been kind of in the works for a while, we've been kicking our ass back into gear. As most of you know, we've had a huge setback. In June, we had to remove a lot of our erotica from Amazon, which makes up over 80% of our sales. That was a huge financial blow. Like, that was pretty much, we might have only removed like a third of our catalog, but we lost about half of our sales. It has been kind of devastating in that regard and kind of demoralizing. So we've not been writing very much, but now that we're planning on doing this, and we have been for a while, we've gotten our ass back in gear. We're
not that easily dissuaded. There's a lot of real life stuff happening.
Well, that too, and it's just like, how do you get over that demoralization and that frustration when you're also dealing with, we lost somebody that was very close to us at a recent time. Yeah. We had birthdays, we had family in, we had weddings and anniversaries and all that other stuff. So on top of that, when we did get time, it was hard to want to write. So we're back in gear. We're almost finished the final Vixen, which is going to be the longest of the three and the most plot intensive. A lot of character development. A lot of things that people were really looking forward to and asking for, thankfully. So we'll be letting you all know when that's going to be released. We're hoping that it'll be released in September. We're not certain yet. we're gonna...
Well, definitely, once she's quit too, we'll be able to nail down more definite timelines for releases.
So right now we actually do have some shored up release dates. So Theodora's Descent comes out on August 29th. So as of this recording, it's only a couple of days away. We'll see how that goes. It's been our experiment in pre-orders. So
yeah, her first pre-order.
Yeah, so it's actually been a lot easier for us to get that information out to you and get all of our fans who really want the book to have them get it at a discounted
just so they stop
rate.
beating down our fucking door.
I know, it's crazy.
It's like the book will be out when it's out, people. Stop trashing our door. I know. It's expensive.
Like, so fanatical. It's absurd. Like, I look out and there's naked people standing all around our apartment going like, hello, where's the book? Where's the book?
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind, except these are not the most attractive of our fans.
No, like the attractive fans, they know they're attractive. So they're at home just like...
calling us.
Yeah.
Incessantly.
Yeah. Because they know, like, their voices are so hot that that's enough to make us want...
Skyping with video chat.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what this is.
Yeah. Well,
this should probably be cut. I don't know.
Yeah. And one other thing. We're thinking about once she quits, she's been such a fuddy-duddy.
What?
Working 3 jobs in one at her day job, and manager and all this other stuff there, and then she comes home and has to work the publishing angle here and help me write, and like, whatever. Never plays video games with me anymore. But now when she quits, she's gonna be able to play video games with me again. But we also figure, well, you're used to working way too many jobs, so why don't we turn playing video games into kind of a job too?
Oh, you mean like back in our WoW days?
Yeah, back in our WoW days.
Yeah, so I think we talked about it a little bit last time, talking about getting a Let's Play or something of the sort going.
Yeah.
I'd like to start with Saints Row because that is adequate amounts of filthy and hilarious and weird, which I like.
But yeah, for those who don't know, Let's Play, we'll record game footage with us talking over it. One thing I noticed some other people had done was when 2 people were playing together, they'd have the 2 game footages, either one kind of a subset image, a smaller image in the, what do they call that again?
In the corner, I don't know. Like if you've ever used a webcam, you know what we're talking about. We don't need to describe it to you. The inlay.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, or like the 2 footages side by side. Either way, something like that. I was talking over it, where we're extremely just awful people talking stupid shit.
Yes, and if you want to see that, let us know, because we're probably going to do it anyways, whether you want it or not. But if we know that people want to, it'll be pushed up a little bit higher onto our list of things.
Yeah. For sure, and one thing I was thinking about doing too is kind of going through a collection of sex scenes in video games, like BioWare's sex scenes, and Dragon Age, and Mass Effect. Maybe. We don't own a system that's on though, so we'll have to get permission to use somebody else's recorded footage.
Somebody go play God of War and record footage of you having sex with someone. And then send it to us and tell us that we can use it.
Yeah.
There. Handled.
We will discuss it thoroughly, academically, erotically.
So what else we're doing with writing, which is still our main thing.
That again.
Like, really, you're the one that has to rein in my passions. It's not fair you doing this right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Anyways, so after Theodora's Descent, we have also already planned for Corrupted Hearts to come out. So it's about 2 demons, very D&D style campaign, except with much sex.
It actually started out as a D&D campaign for us.
Yes, it started out as roleplay and then has been edited many, many times to make it into a story.
that is... You know.
So we've been working on this one for probably like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Getting it all polished and ready, and it is so awesome, and I really want it to do very well because it is 2 characters that we are very passionate about, a story that we are very passionate about, and it is just really fun and long, very long. It is one of our longer works so far. So hopefully people who like a bit more plot and story and everything will really enjoy that.
Initially, she was an Arinyes, or half Arinyes.
Yeah. And like half like moon elf or whatever.
Yes, half moon elf, Forgotten Realms. Was the setting. And he was half fiend.
And half golden elf.
What do you call them again? The half fiends? Camion.
Yeah.
Camion.
Yeah.
Camion. Yeah.
You know, like Kanirvok.
Yeah, Kanirvok.
Who actually wasn't like technically a Camion because he was like half demon instead of half devil.
That was the weird thing. Was like he was the Camion, but according to the rules, he wasn't technically a Camion at all.
Yeah.
The fuck?
I don't know.
D&D.
Oh wow, that is probably the dorkiest thing I've ever like said in my life.
Wow, yeah, you were such a D&D dork. Laugh at me with her, people.
Laugh at me with her, people, is what you just said.
Oh. Hoisted with my own. You really turned the tables on me.
I know. So that's going to be coming out in October, and we also have another release coming up around Halloween, the second part of When Dreamers Wake, which is Leon's creepy Lovecraftian story.
For all you guys out there, this is total male fantasy fucking
if you are a guy who likes sex,
if you're one of those, you
will want this book and its prequel, the When Dreamers Wake. It's a very Lovecraftian sci-fi dystopian setting in which the main character gets laid a lot. And his like ultimate goal in life is to pretty much just knock up every woman ever, and he gets pretty close.
You say Lovecraftian, but it's Lovecraftian in a very light-hearted way.
It's tongue-in-cheek. It's very pulpy, you know.
It's so misleading to use Lovecraft there, because we have Theodore's Descent, which is Descent, which is actually coming out now this week. That's dark
and creepy and weird and
you described that as Lovecraftian, but that is much more much closer to Lovecraft's actual things. It's cosmic horror.
When Dreamers Wake is more the pulp horror. That's kind of tongue-in-cheek and doesn't take itself too seriously, and you know, it's more of a men's adventure. But
it's all about Leon. Women want to be with him, men want to be him.
That is, and also be with him, you know, if you're a little curious.
He's a hunk.
So we have that coming out just before Halloween. We also have The Enforcer, which is going through edits right now, and that is a story about a demon woman who is kick-ass and awesome, and she works for a bunch of like vampires in ruling over this city. For those of you that had read Forgotten Thrones, that story will be kind of split off a little bit for now. So Zui is the character. So it's going to be, you know, her entire story. And
if you've read the Forgotten Thrones stuff, then consider that kind of a primary introduction to some of the characters you're going to meet.
And to the world and everything. So, when we first started publishing back in 2012, what we'd originally anticipated was to blend all the stories together and put it out as one, but ended up being such a massive, sprawling thing. It's like 600,000, 700 more.
7-8 novels, like big novel worth.
It is a lot of story. So it became incredibly daunting, and we had some health problems, so it got really derailed. So we've been working on cleaning that up, and so that's going to be out before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And the last one that we are currently looking at release, like upcoming in the next couple of months, is called Unleashed. So
yeah,
that is the story, possibly a trilogy, of a young woman who is at an elite magic school.
Yeah.
So it is similar in that vein to Magic Academy. So if you liked Magic Academy, you might like this one. It's
much more sex in this one.
Yeah, and it still has threesome. So if you didn't like Magic Academy love triangle, not a threesome. It
has a threesome. Don't you remember? The guards.
Oh, right. Yeah. So the main character uses her sexuality to get her way quite a lot. There still is a love triangle, and she is much skankier and much more... she's kind of a bossy bottom. Like,
I don't know.
Certain...
I don't know.
She's kind of submissive.
With some guys.
Yeah.
But then there's other guys that are completely manipulating the fuck out of her.
Yeah. So she's very emotional and runs on instinct and all that stuff. So that's coming out in December for all of your Christmas reading. So those are the things that we've been working on now in order to get ready for doing this full time.
Yep.
So we are clearly very busy.
Oh, yeah. That we are. And,
he has to look at his list.
Yeah.
He has a list of things that we're supposed to talk about. I'm not allowed looking at it.
No, you're not. I'm the maestro of the list here. Let's see. Yeah, we've got that pretty much all covered.
Awesome.
For the most part, yeah.
Cool. Zoom through that shit.
One thing to discuss, it's still technically August, so it hasn't been a full month. Yeah. Well, okay, yes, it's very much August. So, it's not been a complete full month since our last podcast, which went right after the start of August. So, the story challenge.
It's still swinging.
Yeah, it's still swinging. So, you know, if you're a budding writer or you just think maybe you'd like to write a quick story, the story challenge is write a story about swinging, and there's bonus prompts you can find on Darkness, like, you know, including
urban
something
fantasy.
about a music festival, urban fantasy, or impromptu sex toys. Those are all.
So, you know, if you look at a carrot and think, hey, that's kind of hot.
Yeah. Vegan, yeah.
I think the stories are around 6,000 words, so if you've done NaNoWriMo, you'll know that is like, 3 or 4 days of writing? But sex always goes faster, at least for us. Maybe it goes slower for other people, I don't know.
Yeah, depends on who you are. When we write sex scenes, we blow through
Whenever we... Like,
thousands of words.
The first bit of Magic Academy where there was no sex, like, the first half of that book probably took, like, 6 times as long as the last half after we got to the sex.
Yeah. Safe to say.
As soon as we started writing the sex, it was like all of the words blew up, and it was just like, oh, look, we're done.
Yep. We are very passionate about writing sex. Let's just put it that way.
And it's not really fair because, like, that is what we've always done, and I know that, like, some people don't really care for sex in their stories, and I've never been like that. I've always been the type of person who gets really...
sex and everything.
Yeah, I get really annoyed when it's like, okay, so you're gonna bore me for like 6 pages about this stupid battle and how his sword glistens and blah blah blah, but you won't tell me about his sex and how his sword glistens and stuff? Like, what's wrong with you? Do you like that I pulled that off? I'm not usually very good at pulling off jokes like that. I stutter. I get nervous that I'm gonna fuck it up, and then it all goes awry.
Yeah, but you're good at pulling me off.
Ayo.
Since it was a penis reference, you did it.
Yeah, I can nail penis references.
Nail penises too. That was okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want an excuse to write, as well on Darkness, we just unleashed the new self-promotion board.
For artists, writers.
People who do Let's Plays, people who blog, people who just try to do something to add to the world. If you want to promote yourself, feel free in that section. Everyone's allowed one thread. You know, the only stipulation is that you not use it to advertise things that are already on the site. So if you already have an art thread and that's all that you want to advertise is just, hey, look at my art thread here on Darkness, yeah, it's not going to be best for that. There's not going to be...
Yeah, your art thread already kind of...
Yeah, if somebody's there looking for art threads, they're going to be looking under the art section, not the self-promotion section. So it's not going to do you any good, and it's just going to get deleted. So don't do it. But feel free to promote anything else if you're trying to make money, especially if you're trying to make money off of, you know, dark fantasy erotica or video games or anything to do with that. Or if you just have like a really cool blog or something, feel free to post it. There's also a place for your social media. Yeah. So if you want people to follow you on Tumblr or Twitter.
I like Twitter.
Facebook. Josh is a big fan of Twitter.
Twitter is the only one I actually like using. Well, no, not fair. Tumblr is great for porn.
Yeah. Tumblr is amazing for like finding new pictures.
There's so much hot porn on there.
I just wish there was a way to like group things, because like I get kind of skitzed out when it's like I'm looking at like naked people and then I'm looking at like you know, this weird plea for like Amnesty International to do something to help these starving people somewhere. It's kind of like
it's always very jarring. And then it's like, for me, it's like it's the gruesome horror stuff, then back to naked ladies.
Yeah, so you know, but other than that, I kind of segregated my Tumblr a little bit, but it's still not great. So,
but yeah, you can find us on Tumblr. We have several blogs to cater to specific interests, and I just have a general one that I consider my inspiration blog. I post pictures that I find inspirational: fantasy, sci-fi, naked ladies.
Yeah, everybody finds naked ladies to be inspirational.
Everyone.
Oh my God! Speaking of. If you follow me on Tumblr, you might hear my bisexual problems. So I've been looking up outfits to purchase.
Yeah.
Sexual outfits. Mm-hmm. And I've been going through, and there's this one model, and she looks great in everything. All of the clothes she wears. It could be the ugliest thing in the world, like this ugly, like, puke green corset that has a really bad cut. And it's going to make you look really flat instead of really busty. And it doesn't tie in enough at the waist. And it kind of has this garish trim. And, like, the trim is probably, like, purple to go with the green corset or whatever. And it is hideous. And somehow I look at it on her and I'm just like, I want that corset. That's really sexy. And Josh will look over and he's like, it's not really sexy. She's really sexy. It's not really sexy. I don't think that'll look good. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then I try to look at it and isolate it from her, like, smoking hot body. And it's like, oh, that's right. That probably isn't. But it looks really good. It fits her very good.
You just want her, not the outfit.
That is my problem. That is my big conundrum, is that I keep looking at all these women and I'm like, no, that dress looks really good. That's a really good dress. I should buy that dress. And it's like, no, I don't, that dress is going to look bad on me. That dress is not going to fit. That dress is going to be up around my waist. It's going to be a belt, and it's going to make me look flat-chested, and the color's all wrong for me, but I want it because, man, that looks some good.
Yeah.
Some good.
Problem. Some good.
My Newfoundlandies.
Yeah, some good, people. It looks some good.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And we have a discussion topic for this week.
Oh, do we?
Yep. This was actually for this month. I'm already, in my mind, apparently got us down to a week schedule.
So what are we talking about, my love?
This was for last month, but we never got to it because last month we just wouldn't shut the fuck up about who knows what.
I talked about the Royal Ontario Museum and our swinging thing
WoW.
that didn't happen.
Yeah, you talked about WoW a lot.
And World of
I think
Warcraft.
that was the first half of the World of Warcraft was the first half of the podcast.
World of Warcraft was a big part of our life for like 6 years. And like it still is, because we run Darknest and everybody is still playing World of Warcraft.
If they're not playing World of Warcraft, they're talking about how much better their new MMO is than World of Warcraft, or talking about how much they wish they could go back to World of Warcraft.
It's so annoying because, like, I feel the same. Like, I totally feel the same. Like, I don't even really want to play WoW anymore because I don't really have time to invest in getting to 90 and to, like, learn the game again. Because, I mean, it's a very intricate game. Like, there is a lot of talents that you get, and you have to know how to use them. And I know there's, like, elitist jerks and all that stuff still to teach you kind of how to min-max. But, like, it takes a lot of time and effort and energy to get really good at World of Warcraft. And I am not great at playing things poorly.
No, she's not. She needs to do everything superbly.
Yeah, I gotta be the best. Especially with video games, because I have a real hang-up with being a woman and not being taken seriously in video games. So I don't want to do my gender a disservice by being shitty at video games. So, like, we play, like, Left 4 Dead, and I am super competitive. And
She needs to top all those fucking
yeah,
things.
like, I get really upset if I don't have, like, the top headshots, the top accuracy, the top kills. Like, I'm just done for the night if I'm not top.
She usually is, though, so...
Yeah, so usually we keep going until I start faltering. But, you know, World of Warcraft, it defined...
A generation.
I was pausing for dramatic effect.
Oh, okay.
But I was going to say that.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's what we grew up on, and it's what, like, most of us developed as adults into. So it's like a landmark.
Yeah, I started playing it in university,
Yeah,
and I got you
everyone
into
wants
it
it
right
back.
after, and...
It's like the newness, the, like, feeling like a nub, and then, like, learning how to do it. Like, now, every MMO, like, you kind of understand it. But, wow.
Made so many friends in that game that we still are in daily, constant contact with.
We're in a chat right now with, like, a dozen of them or something.
Yeah. They were all in our guild back in WoW.
Yeah. So, like...
so much of that is lost, and it's not even so much WoW. Like, the biggest part isn't even WoW's fault so much. It's like, because, you know...
You just can't recapture that. You can't...
Yeah, but, like, for me, you mentioned the technical aspects of WoW. However, for me, the biggest deal is the social aspect. Of any MMO, the biggest deal is the social aspect of the people you know and the people you play with it. That's what makes the game for you. The game, the technical aspects of, like, the gameplay and all that, it's all nice. It's kind of, it's that foundation of your house. But, you know, everything else is all the social aspect to me.
The social aspect is the family that makes the house a home.
Right. Thank you, honey. That was beautiful.
I know.
It's heartwarming.
This is why I'm a writer.
Oh. But, and it's like, whenever I try, like, I've been playing MMOs pretty much, you know, constantly ever since I quit.
WildStar and Elder
Guild Wars
Scrolls,
2 is the one.
Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is the one I've been stuck with.
Star Wars.
WoW has been over consistently. But my problem is that I'm a busy old person now. And when I go into MMOs, like, when I join a guild, it seems really nice and everybody's great, but it's like, everybody in that guild is playing way fucking more than me. They're on every day, they're playing for a lot, and me, I get on maybe every other day. Sometimes I disappear for a week or two because work with publishing and all that is crazy busy, and I just don't want to spare the time for it. I can't spare the time for it. And it's like, I'm that old guy who shows up sometimes inconsistently.
That nobody really can forge a bond with because you're never on enough to...
Right. Well, there's always other people in the guild who are around every single day.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, those are the ones you make, you forge all those bonds with, and you get along with, you go raiding with, you run dungeons with, you talk with every day. And me, I'm just that guy that, oh yeah, what were you... You're the author, right? You said you did... It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, when we ran a guild, we knew plenty of people like that, and it was always so much harder for them to make friends, because, I mean, it's like in real life. If you don't see people often enough, you just can't forge those bonds. Anyways, we're getting back on World of Warcraft again when we should be talking about
Drum roll. Great ideas done badly.
Ah.
Well, I guess it's a funny way of phrasing it, because for me, it was more like terrible art that inspires good ideas. Because I thought back to a lot of the stories I come up with, the inspiration for that came from really bad things. Like either there's like stupid songs that inspired like a story that was like completely contrary to the theme. Like I remember it was like "Go on to take the money and run" ended up inspiring a story we wrote.
Yeah, about two of our WoW characters.
Yeah.
Again.
Yes.
Wow.
Thanks for redirecting the story back there again, Michelle. You just got on top of it.
Woo.
And then it's not actually a bad song. I like the song.
Oh yeah, it's a great song.
But, you know, the tone of the song and the story were completely different, and it's very bizarre. But one thing that stuck out to my mind was, if you're a Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, you should know it. Yeah, oh God, yes.
He's obsessed with this one.
The Creeping Terror.
He loves it.
I love The Creeping Terror. It's so fucking awful. If you haven't seen it, you've got to see it.
Yeah, please do.
Please see the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version.
Yeah. MST3K.
Their commentary over it's hilarious. But it's an abysmally done movie. It's black and white, but there's almost no lines of dialogue in the movie. I don't know what it was. I can't imagine it was a planned thing from the start. My only guess is that the audio must have been fucked up and so bad and unusable that when they went to edit it for use in theaters or whatever, assuming it came in theaters, I don't know, they decided, you know what, this is unusable, we're going to do something. And so what it is the entire movie is narrated over by this dry narrator who explains what's happening even as people are talking in the background. It's like it explains the pathetically obvious.
I think the best line is, "Now that we need a narrator, he clams up."
Yeah, and that's the great part. Those moments where a narrator would be really useful in your movie when something's happening and it's not like, you know, it's confusing and bizarre, because the theme of the movie is this alien probe lands and this creature comes out, and, you know, and when you need the narrator, he's not talking.
He's gone.
The narrator's the only talking like over other characters, explaining what those characters are saying, which again leads me to believe that it was the whole idea of the narrator conveying the story was something done after the fact when it turned out the audio was really shitty. But the concept of the story is, for those who haven't seen it, alien probe lands, and it's but this is an old movie, I think, like 50s.
The 50s or something.
Yeah, and but the probe, like the creature, sends out like basically our version of like the Mars rover, except it's like an organic monster thing, and it's not like an evil creature or something like this, but this is how people see it. It goes around devouring people and things, and you know, whoa, it's terror. It's the Creeping Terror, and so what it is this is an alien probe, and it devours things. Like our Mars rover would go around picking up, you know, debris and stuff like this from the surface to analyze it, and then transmit it back to the probe, which then transmit the signals back to whatever alien species it came from. And I thought, you know, I'm thinking to myself, this movie is fucking terrible, but that is a really great idea. Like that is as an idea.
Forward thinking.
Yeah, it's very forward thinking. You know. Yeah,
considering we hadn't been on the moon yet.
Yeah, the idea of bioorganic, like organic biomechanical devices kind of going around, like, you know, studying other worlds and stuff like that. Like, you know, that was pretty damn cool, I thought. But the movie is just fucking terrible.
It's awesome if you watch it with the MST3K commentary, though.
Yeah. And so it was one of those things that always stuck in my mind, you know, like, you know, how from the worst of things there can be, like, maybe it was a very good idea in its conception, but like I said, with the narration and the direction and obviously the whole sets and everything, the Creeping Terror itself is laughable.
Comical.
Yeah, it's comical. It's just this big, like, parade float thing that slowly lumbers along.
Quit calling to his mouth so he can eat you.
Yeah. Was it the commentary they give in MST3K is, oh, I figured out its weakness. Don't crawl into its mouth. Because it's so badly done. It's like the only way it eats things is by people actually like literally climbing into its mouth.
Yeah.
So, great ideas done badly.
Okay, I have another one, and you're gonna hate me for this.
Okay.
And I accept that. Josh is more of the sci-fi fantasy person than I am. I am more drawn to contemporary. He hates it. It's our whole Romeo and Juliet thing, star-crossed lovers. But one movie that I think was amazing in concept and horrific in actuality was Hostel. I was so excited to see Hostel because the idea of a group of, and this also applies to Eyes Wide Shut, okay? This is my same commentary between the porn and the fucking killing, is I have a fascination with a cult of rich people who can do whatever they want. I love that idea. I would love to do something like that, whether it's a sex orgy club or something. It is fascinating to me. It's a sick fascination, obviously. Like, it follows the same fascination.
A sick fascination? Yeah. Weird.
With, like, wealth and with, what is it? Like, gluttony, like, wanting more than you can ever possibly need. Just being so greedy and narcissistic and self-involved that you see human life as being below you because they're not really humans. They're plebes. They are nothing. And so the idea of, in Hostel...
We're very different people in some respects.
We are. That these rich people who see people as so beneath them that they could, like, kill and torture and do whatever they want with, these low-class people and all of the seediness. Like, that was fascinating to me. And I think it was one of the worst done films I've ever seen in my life. I left and I was so angry with the movie. It just glorified all of the issues that I thought that it might tackle.
It was just bad, unentertaining.
But you think about it, like, I mean, that's a really interesting concept to tackle.
Could have been.
Like, the idea of a bunch of rich people who see...
But that's the problem. See, it was just an idea.
Yeah.
Someone had an idea for a movie, but didn't bother to take that kernel of an idea and turn it into a full-fledged story.
Yeah. But, like... Because the idea of, like, if it were done kind of similar vein to, like, American Psycho, where it was kind of like showing this rich guy who's so out of touch with reality, so disconnected from the people in his life that, he thought he was so much better than everyone else, and so took to, like, torturing and killing these people just for the thrill of it, the kick of it, because he was unhappy. Like, that would have been a fascinating take on Hostel, but instead it just glorified everything that it should have been against, I think.
It was just a bad fucking movie.
It was boring.
It was
boring.
What was it? Gore porn?
Torture porn.
Torture porn, yeah, that's the term.
And I mean, same with Eyes Wide Shut. Like, we watched it a few years ago, when I was at my height of, like, wanting more high-class orgy porn. And
that
just
phase. We all go through that.
And just being so disappointed by, again, the disconnect.
It was so boring.
Like, there was no passion. There was no actual intrigue. It was just... What was that one... was it Ed... Remember back in, like, the 30s? Fucking, like... The topless dancers.
We're gonna have to edit this.
Orgy of cultists or something.
Orgy of the damned, was it?
I think it was Orgy of cultists. No, but apparently there is Orgy of the Damned. I think it was Orgy of cultists.
I don't think that was it.
Ed Wood.
Ed Wood.
Ed Wood.
How did we not get that right away? Ed Wood. Everybody knows Ed Wood.
Yeah. So he did this, like, movie. I can't remember the title of it, and Josh has given up looking it up. And it was just, like, women dancing topless. Like, it was called an orgy, but there was no orgy. I was so disappointed. I spent, like, $3 on that movie.
Orgy of the Dead. That was my first thought.
Orgy of the Dead.
Yeah. So fucking boring.
1965 film. I was like 3 decades off.
Oh, it was just like an endless string of women who would just come out and very kind of lazily, crappily dance and maybe take off their top.
Yeah. Another great idea gone bad. That could have been a great vampire erotica film.
Oh, fuck, it was terrible. For me, a recent one.
Oh, we're going back to sci-fi fantasy, I bet.
You know what? I just want to spite you now.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm not gonna name the one you think I'm gonna name.
Okay, what are you gonna
I'm
name?
gonna go to the world of literature.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cushiel's Dart.
Oh.
For anybody who knows.
Oh God, please don't send us hate mail for this. I know it's really popular.
I tried reading it on recommendation from a friend whom I respected the opinion of before I read this.
Don't tell her that.
That was a joke. Oh, so pretentious and boring. Purple prose. People toss around that term a lot, purple prose. But this was, I only read the first book, and I don't even think I could finish it. I got most of the way through it. It was a long-ass, boring fucking book. But, you know, if there was ever a piece of erotica that deserved the term purple prose, it was Cushiel's Dart. Ugh, just boring, pretentious, long, dry descriptions of things. All this flowery nonsense, and it just wasn't interesting at all.
I never read it, so I can't comment.
It was a very good idea in concept about this like young girl being recruited off the streets, as I recall, by this aspiring kind of like nobleman who was like an assassin, I think, you know, to be this well-trained courtesan, and basically it was all this fantasy realm supposedly, but it was just France. It was France. Like even the map, it was just France. So it's just France, but with some fantasy elements, I guess. I don't know. I didn't get far enough into it to really discover any of the fantasy elements. It was just France, except with way more emphasis on sex, and where Jesus Christ was some guy who went around having orgies with women, and he apparently traveled across France at some point in this version. That was about the only differences I could discern from it. But it was...
To be fair, we don't know that's a difference.
Yeah. True. Jesus was quite the hippie, hanging around with prostitutes and stuff, by all accounts.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
At least so taught me the Jesus Christ Superstar movie, which is all of my basis.
Musical?
The Christian faith.
Yeah. Yeah, that was our education in Christianity.
Yeah.
Well, no, that and the religion class, quote unquote religion.
That was illegally taught to Joshua.
Yeah, at the time, which was basically all just Bible stories.
Yeah.
In elementary school. That stuck with me.
Alright, I think we should wrap this up. I think we're rambling.
No, we're not.
Are we rambling?
I didn't even get to my next example.
Okay, fine.
You're cutting me off short.
Fine, give your next example.
Keep your female privilege to yourself.
And if people are pissed, they're going to be pissed at you, not me. Because I tried. And you saw it. Okay? No, you go.
No.
Just talk.
You don't get the right to make fun of me for rambling when you went on that huge-ass spiel about raid leading and WoW at the very beginning of the last podcast.
People are here to talk about us playing WoW like 5 years ago. That's why people are listening. Okay. I'm giving the listeners what they want.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess that's what the podcast name should be, huh?
I'm giving the readers what they want. You're not readers. You might be readers. I don't know.
Boring WoW tales from 5 years ago. That should be the podcast name.
Living off my former glory.
Yeah.
Hole.
No. But that brings us to another point, too, though. We have a contest going on right now to name this podcast, because the current name sucks balls.
I think I said that at the beginning.
Did you?
Yeah. But still, I mean, you're going to get, like, a paperback book signed by us. It'll probably say something silly in it.
Or naughty if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can... I mean, we'll say whatever. We're
perverts.
I wasn't going to say perverts. I was basically going to say illicit workers for money.
That's a weird way of saying it.
Anyways, what was your last example?
Oh yeah, last
I'm
example of good ideas done badly. It was very contemporary. The movie Lucy in theaters this summer. And actually it wasn't... Okay, disclaimer, the movie itself wasn't that bad.
The movie was pretty good.
It was entertaining.
Yeah. And I like Scarlett Johansson, and I don't... It's one
and
of
I like
those
seeing
things.
her kick ass.
Yeah. I like when movies... I mean, firstly, this one barely passed the Bechdel test. But I love movies that have a female character that make up more than like 5 minutes of the movie. And I like it even more when they're pretty kick-ass and awesome and sexy.
But yeah, the whole movie had this grounding in science, supposedly, and it was like, of course, there's the big obvious flaw that it relied very heavily on that the whole myth, and I'm not by far the first person pointed out that, you know,
it has a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, the whole idea that you only use 1/10 of your brain or whatever, and if we could only use more, and that's nonsense. We use all of our brains, even when we're sleeping, our brains are completely active. The only time your brain wouldn't be active is if you were part of it was actually dead, brain damage. Otherwise, at all times, your brain is active to some degree. But yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of issues with that. I thought that could have been done way better. Especially, it had such a great message. There was such a pro-science message about how knowledge and being open to discovery and to new ideas is the way forward. That knowledge is never bad.
And I think that's the problem, is when you're relying on a very pro-science message and at the same time spewing this, myth as the scientific basis of your movie, it kind of is problematic.
And, the whole concept of the movie, if you haven't seen it, is that this woman, through a string of incidences, gets injected with this big overdose of like this new drug that basically bestows upon her superpowers.
It unlocks her potential.
It gives her superpowers. Let's just leave it at that. And I thought that the concept of that I thought was very cool. It reminds me of, if you've read it, like Dune, the Bene Gesserit.
Yes.
Because the whole concept of the Bene Gesserit in Dune is that they're these women, these highly disciplined women, who, if they dare to try to become, matrons of their organization, they ingest a poison. On Dune, it's the waters of life, this poison from the sandworms, and it'll kill you. However, if you are very capable and you're one of these Bene Gesserit who is very disciplined, you can look inside yourself as the poison is like killing you off, and you can take control of your inner workings or your body to break down the poison and turn it into something healthy instead, and it kind of unlocks this latent ability within you. Muad'Dib,
by the way, was a total Gary Sue in that he had this power that only women had had before.
Yeah. Okay, one thought at a time here. We're already bad enough for
just saying.
Segueing to the concept.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, and it was such a great thing where they unlock this ability to look back into genetic memory, back into the lines of all the women before them, back down through history, and they're able to control their biology. They could theoretically, if they wished, keep altering their biology so that they could live forever, but they don't, because they're also bestowed with enough knowledge and wisdom through this process to realize that if they were to make themselves live forever, then everybody would be livid about it and want to know their secret so they could live forever too, and that it would end up in the destruction of their order. So they allow themselves to die after a lengthy life cycle. But I thought that was very cool.
And there's the whole series that follows focuses more on them, right?
Yeah.
What one was that? The Sisterhood or something?
Yeah, I'm reading it right now, actually.
Yeah.
My copy of it was kind of crappy. But yeah, I thought that was a similar idea done much, much better.
Well, because it kind of removed the premise, right? The whole false science,
Yeah,
the myth of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to take something seriously when it's like, well, you didn't even get the basic science right, so why would I feel compelled about the rest of the science?
Yeah, there's something about being true to your theme as well, and like where the theme of this movie was, and it's a very blatant theme. This is not us reading into things very much. If you haven't seen it, I mean, the end of the movie just comes right out and says it. That science knowledge cannot be bad. That it is knowledge is the one true good. And but when you take that theme, that message, but you pair it with some very bad, shoddy science, it's like you're undermining your own message there. And I know a lot of people brush it off, said, "Oh yeah, it's just a stick for the story," but it wasn't a necessary thing. You could have conveyed the same message, like I think one reviewer, Movie Bob,
we love Movie Bob. He's great.
He's all right.
He's great.
But like you said, it worked well because it paired with this whole theme. Like throughout the movie, it was like each time she kind of scaled up from from the base human 10% brain usage to or whatever it was to like 20%, 30%, and then got new powers each time. She went up. It kind of made this good hitters for the movie, like boom, 50%, boom, 80%. They give you some idea. I mean, that same message could have been conveyed to another means, like, boom, 200%. She has 200% of normal human brain capacity through some other means.
Or, hello, it could have just been the show, don't tell.
Yeah. Any number of ways you could have done it. That would have been...
I just wanted to sound really pretentious.
Yeah, you did that.
Thank you.
Yep. Well done.
Thanks.
So, yeah. Great ideas done badly. And
do you have any suggestions? Any other books or movies or games that you think had a great premise or great tagline or great, blurb?
Yeah.
But kind of fell short in actuality? Feel free to share in the comments. We love getting comments. They're pretty cool.
And if any...
Plus, it proves that you actually listened all the way through, which I'm really impressed with, and I love you.
Yeah.
And Josh wants to have your babies.
Yeah. I'll give you babies.
Yeah, Josh likes impregnation fetishes.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let me give you babies. Come on.
Alright, bye.
What? No. No.